Fellow South Africans, greetings to you. My name is Ayanda Dlodlo, the Minister of Communications. Welcome to this week's edition of Government at Work, where we gain insight into government's programs and events. President Zuma and several ministers represented our country at the 72nd session of the United Nations General Assembly convened in New York under the theme, Focusing on People, Striving for Peace and Decent Life for All on a Sustained Planet. This year's General Assembly coincided with the centenary of O.R. Tambo, who was instrumental in rallying support, assistance and solidarity against the oppression of colonialism and apartheid on the continent. In honor of this global icon of struggle against apartheid, President Zuma hosted an event on the sidelines of UNGA that was attended by heads of state and government and eminent personalities from anti-apartheid movements. The UN visit also saw President Zuma signing the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons to reflect our country's commitment towards a world free from a threat posed by nuclear weapons and ensuring that nuclear energy is used for peaceful purposes. Staying in the international arena and on human rights, South Africa is deeply concerned at the plight of the Rohingya people who have fled their homes in Myanmar and urges all parties to halt violence in order to avoid further human suffering. In light of the call by the United Nations Secretary General, South African government appeals to Myanmar to allow security and humanitarian agencies access to affected communities in need of assistance. On the home front, government is deeply concerned over the killing of councillors, with several deaths reported in KwaZulu-Natal since the beginning of the year, and more recently, deaths also reported in the Eastern Cape. The brutal killings has taken the lives of young activists who had much to contribute to building a prosperous country. Government strongly condemns these acts which go against the ethos of our constitution and detracts from our developmental democracy and the right to people to elect their own public representatives. We call on political parties to promote tolerance among their members and for communities to support the South African Police Service in their investigations. Another matter of discomfort to government is the recent incidents of child labor. The Department of Labor, in addressing these incidents in which children were found working on farms in the Northwest and Free State, the Department of Labor and Social Development have acted swiftly with the matter, and all affected children have been relocated to places of safety. However, the continued practice of child labor remains a pressing challenge for our society. Government condemns all forms of child labor and encourages South Africans to remain vigilant at all times, take a stand for our children, and report these involved in this heinous form of child abuse. Parents and guardians have a legal duty, according to the South African Schools Act and the Children's Act, to ensure that their children between the ages of 7 and 15 are registered and attend school regularly. On the important topic of education, it is all systems go for the National Senior Certificate examinations that start at the end of October. The Department of Basic Education has been working tirelessly to ensure that the examinations are up to standard and that there are no irregularities. To avert leaks of question papers, all 212 storage points across the country have been audited to ensure compliance with the minimum security standards. Storage points that do not comply will not be allowed to store any question papers. The registration of National Senior Certificate Examination Centers and candidates has been completed, and the final verification of the data is currently underway. Question papers have been set and externally moderated. This year, there are 636,814 registered full-time candidates and 161,475 part-time candidates who will sit to write the matric exams. While everything on government side is in place, we heavily depend on the parents and guardians to ensure that the class of 2017 is in the right frame of mind to perform the best of their ability. We urge parents and guardians to support matriculants by creating the right climate and environment at home for them to study. And above all, we wish the class of 2017 every success in the important step in their lives. Thank you for tuning into government's message. Together we continue to move South Africa forward.